right, welcome everyone to our CSM dashboard introduction. Is everyone able to hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So my name is Vijay D'Souza, and I am a business analyst with Cogsdale. Also joining us today is we have our CIS manager and Milka, our solution delivery manager. And we wanted to take the time today to show you our dashboard, what's going to be coming and being released for the end of April, as well as look at and discuss some of the options that we could develop for the dashboard and reaching out to you as our customer base to see exactly what we're looking for.
It doesn't look like the SIM card was even shipped out yet. I've gotten 2 approval emails from Verizon wanting me to approve the new line, and then there's it looks like $20 a month.
As we look to our dashboard here, to reaching out to you as our customers to see exactly what we're looking for, what you're looking for, and what we could do to the dashboard to help help you out, get by your business a little bit easier. So today our dashboard, it is completely web-based. Customers will log into the portal with a username and password, and I'll just show you what we have today. So I'm going to log in. We're presented with a login screen, and we'll talk about different options on login options of what we have available. So as I log in here, I'm just going to put in my username and password. Just give me a moment while I try and mute some. All right, so as I log in here, it brings me to our search, and this gives me the opportunity to go and search for different names. So once I start entering a name, the system's automatically going to go out and search for all the different customers. We have 2 different areas of search. One is called a general search, and the other one is an advanced search. The general search allows us to search by name, address, telephone number, email address. So it gives us an opportunity to just type in anything, and the system will go and search all the different fields. So for example, if all I have is Sally, I could just type in Sally. If I have just a customer number or even a customer, as soon as I just, this is just using my own test data, but as soon as I start putting in an account number, for example, all the different account numbers the system is going to search on that. And just to keep things a little bit faster, when we search, it's only going to bring back the first top 10 records. But we also have the ability to go and see a little bit more when we use the advanced search. So if we're putting in something a little bit too general, we might return a lot of results, but we could then use the advanced search to help filter it down a little bit. So as you notice, as I just start searching, I'm just going to pick on Sally here today. I have Sally, and it brings out their outstanding balance and the due date on their account there. So if a customer calls in, we just want to see what their balance is, just using the search here gives us the opportunity to see exactly what their outstanding balance is right now. But if I wanted to dive in just a little bit more deeper, when I click on View CSM Account, it's going to bring me to the dashboard. And here's the dashboard for the customer that is loaded here. At the top, we have the alert panel. So the alert panel shows us the exact same information of what we would see if we're looking in the account window inside of CSM. Also, with the customer accounts, we see the customer with all the different locations that they're at. The one that is highlighted in blue, this is the current one loaded for the dashboard. But if I wanted to see other locations Sally's at, I could click on it, and it's going to bring me other information that is with other information for her account here. And same with the third one. And you could easily switch between them just by clicking on the hyperlink on the location, and it's going to load it for that customer there. So you can easily switch between accounts here for that customer. And so we have different widgets. This is our first release for this dashboard. We will be building more widgets, and we'll be discussing about which different widgets that would be beneficial for everyone here. But just out of the box right now, we have a customer widget. So it gives us our basic customer information. If you need account validation, such as the social SSN or date of birth, we have the opportunity to bring that onto that dashboard as well. We can see quite quickly the account information. So Sally has a past due balance and any other, if they have deposits, if they're on budget billing, exactly what the overshort is, and just some of that information quickly that you can find at a glance there. Recent activities, so any recent recent documents that have been posted to the account will show in the recent activities. So we could just, it's just a quick glance information, right? There'll be, could be added functionality that, that we could enhance this on the future to bring more information as well. And as I scroll down, you can see the different services that are available. So as well as the graph information. So looking at the consumption of the service here, and there's additional filters to find what you want to do on the graph. Also looking at any contact information, if there's a contact log, looking what the next action is. This panel is still being built out here, so so there's still a few more enhancements on information that we want to bring out here, but it gives you the opportunity to see any contact information, as well as we'll be able to create contact log information straight from the dashboard. So you can easily just switch between those two there. And then finally, we have the transactions, which basically brings all the different transactions for this account. To limit it, you can filter it by scrolling through the different pages. You can also have the opportunity to sort it by date, so you can change the date sort quite easily just by clicking on the headers just by clicking on the column headers. You also have the ability to create some filters. So you have, so if it's you want to try and find some historical transaction, we have the ability to search by a whole bunch of different filters that you'd be able to add, including different date ranges for finding your specific transaction. If, say, the next customer calls in now and I'm just dealing with Mike, if I see that Mike's, if Smith comes in, the system is automatically just going to start searching again from the exact same page that we found or that we had there. And if I don't have the results that I'm looking for, it gives us the opportunity, we can bring up the advanced search, and the advanced search just allows us to search by a specific name or an account number. So if I knew a specific account number for a customer or even their address, it just allows me to search from those addresses. So if I'm just typing in Smith again, it's going to find me all the different names with Smith that I can that I'd be able to see here, and then just bring up their CSM account information. So this is generally our introduction to our dashboard. I'd just like to open it up to any questions at this time here. Any questions at all, if anyone's on mute?
I think there is a question, Vijay, on the chat, it looks like. And the answer is yes. I think the question is this for the customer server representatives to use? And that's right. It's primarily targeted for CSRs. That's correct.
Okay, I have a couple more questions coming in. So the question we have is, where do you get the credit rating from, the delinquency information? And that could be one of the items that we add to here to the dashboard. So it's not prominently displayed at this point. And another question is, can you create a service order from here? No, right now, there in the future, we are looking for the ability to create service orders. So that could be one of the discussion points that we'd like to have.
The next one is the new contacts widget populates CSM. Can you add notes to the contact? And that's right. So the contact section, we can, the intent is to be able to have the ability to add new notes. And just from the contact log, you can actually also create a service order if the contact has an action tied to it.
Going back also on the credit rating information and delinquencies, we do have a credit rating on the customer widget. Vijay, if you could show that, that's on the credit rating
right
on the customer. Yeah, we have that, but are you looking for more information on the credit rating, like showing more on the credit, on the notices, like what collection notices customer received?
I guess it's really quiet. Does everyone have the ability to unmute themselves for asking questions?
Yeah, this is Frank from Jamestown. Can you hear me?
Hi, Frank.
Yes.
So I think one of the questions in the chat was one I was going to ask. So looking at your search bar, will this also search multi-customers? So I know that was something you guys just added the build 44 with the account search. So I didn't know if that carried over into the dashboard or not.
It does, Frank. We actually use the same API underneath, both the core search, account search, and this use the same features. So yeah.
So whatever can be done with the account search in CSM directly can be done through the dashboard as well then.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you can search multiple fields as well as at one time with the separator?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
And there are some questions about making edits. I think current phase, the only, it's mostly inquiry. The only data update that can happen is the contact log initiation or update, but we do have it in the plan roadmap to be able to do, some of those, like making changes to the customer widget directly from here. But also what Vijay is going to show, so I don't want to steal too much of it, is have the ability to drill into CSM from the dashboard. So some of that will probably make more sense as we talk about what's coming up. And as for the what version this is available, we're still in a pre-release. We have opened it up to a few customers. So after this call, if any of you are interested, do let me reach out to Vijay or myself. This is Arun. We can make sure we can get you the pre-release version. But we do the next planned, official version is end of April that Vijay mentioned. But right now we do have a pre-release version, which is which is being tested at a few customer sites.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, finally. It took me a while to figure this out. It's Profil from Liberty Utilities. A couple of questions. I understand that you're working through the release and you're road mapping this, but at the current time, is it on the roadmap to offer any management dashboard or executive dashboard that sort of gives you a reporting view? And then, like from functional areas, this is a CSR dashboard, but would there be a finance dashboard per se, or a service tech dashboard?
We do have some of the GP BI solutions. That's what is our typical offering for those dashboards. And Power BI is what we typically recommend. And I think Kirk, are you on the call? Kirk can probably speak more to it. Looks like Kirk is muted.
Or what we can do is we can have, maybe we'll have Kirk reach out to you after this call.
Right, yeah, Praful, but that's the answer for that. And this is explicitly focusing on the CSR portal, and that's what this dashboard is. But Power BI is the solution for what you're looking for.
Okay, and then a couple follow-up questions for the CSR. If we've configured security within GP for a particular user access, does that follow through? Does that security privilege follow through to the dashboard?
That's yes. The model that we built, for this phase, the security is separate. There is a feature to sync them up. So essentially, you could tie a GP login to a dashboard security identity, if you will. And then because we have that connection, we can enforce security to specific widgets. At this phase, though, it's at that level where you can link them. So we're able to get, for example, search preferences and that type of stuff from GP. But the goal is to have a single sign-on, like an Active Directory-based single sign-on, where, again, we'll still have the connectivity to the GP login, and we'll talk about that. So the framework does exist for us to enforce the same type of security that GP would enforce.
Okay, thank you. And a final question, and then I'll mute out, is just around reporting capability outside of this. For the CSR, is there any capability through the portal that allows them to, I guess, mask some of the data, like the SSN number here is visible. Just want to know if, say we had it masked within Cogsdale on the account screen, would it come up masked here? And then I guess the second thing, is there any capability for a CSR to actually, say, print a report or print an activity statement through the portal?
The SSN question, I'll take the simpler one. That will follow through. Whatever masking security that's enforced, it will follow through. So if it's set to mask and the user doesn't have the permission, then it will come through as masked. Right now, we don't have any reporting directly from here. They could actually go from here to GP, but it's on the roadmap. It's not on our immediate plans, but we definitely have it as an item to tackle with the roadmap. Really predominantly going through with an SSRS-based solution where you have a framework that allows you to pull up and configure and pull up reports that's defined on SSRS. That's the direction we're trending towards.
Okay, thank you. Looks really nice, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the questions, Praful.
Yeah, so I want to just show you one of the additional features that we are going to be working on immediately inside the roadmap here. Actually, one question was if a customer is on SPA, we would have these alert panels, and there's different types of alert panels to show if a customer is on SPA, if they're cash only. So if you brought up that customer, you would basically see the alert panel right up here. One of the new features
and the balance, BJ, the balance below also will be adjusted. So it will show the balance on the customer who is on spa, on the balances widget.
Yeah. Thank you, Milka. So the other piece that we'll be looking at here, and this is just a mock-up. So this is not our dashboard, but this is just what I'm using as a mock-up here to show you some of the new features that that is in progress for development. And one of them is the action panel. So we're going to have an action panel on the left-hand side, and it'll give us the ability to basically launch from the dashboard. You'd be able to launch yourself into GP for some of the common tasks. So, so to make it easier, if CSR was using the dashboard, if a credit memo was to be created, you'd just click on the credit memo. Again, this is a mock-up, but then Dynamics GP would launch, and you would see the credit memo screen just populated here. And we have the ability to even populate the customer and the location from where you're at right now.
Okay, hey, I got a question on this with your future roadmap regarding this functionality. We deploy CSM through terminal server. So have you guys found a way to launch GP sessions from a website to terminal server?
Yes, it in a sense has to run as a remote app on the terminal service session.
So the web server. So you're actually going to be You're going to be running Chrome or Firefox as a remote app in
Correct.
order to trigger. Okay,
Yep.
so you can't, and that's the issues that I've had trying to do.
Exactly, it has to be running
protocol.
in the same session.
You can't launch the Dynamics protocol from a local browser.
That's correct. That's a security thing that we can't get around. You're right. That we have to use that, Frank. That's
so when you're logging into the dashboard, you're basically logging into a remote app session for that dashboard. Then
that's correct.
And then that should then trigger the GP client should
protocol
open up
handler.
correctly.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to see maybe if you found a better way to do it than I did. So.
No. We didn't want to change. We wanted to use the GP protocol handler because it supports everything for GP as well. So we kind of stuck with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so this would, so right here is our different actions that are available. The other pieces on the widgets, we're gonna add little icons as well that will allow us to open up our customer user defined. So again, these will open up in GP, similar to what we have on the action panel. It would open up the user defined fields. We'll be able to see if there's notes for a customer. So if there was a note, it would appear in a lighter blue. So you'd be able to see if there is a note. And if a note is available, you'd be able to click it and it would open up in GP for you as well. As well as you could just click on this and this would take you to the customer maintenance inside of GP. So you'd be able to see the other fields and all that, everything else that is available, inside of CSM.
So is the end game of this dashboard to replace the account card that we currently have? Is that where the end game is going, or?
And this is where we're reaching out to our customer base to see. We do have the ability to basically replace the customer maintenance inside of GP. And we want to reach out to our customers to see is there value in us creating this for them, or do we want to focus on other features that will make a lot of CSR tasks a lot easier. So one of the examples is, we could bring in all the customer information into the dashboard. And again, this is just a mock-up here. Or we could focus on lots of other sorts of features that we want to kind of discuss later on this call.
Yeah, and in terms of replacing our account window, that might happen really gradually. It's not going to happen at once. As you can see, we are still working on the dashboard and trying to get your feedback also, like Vijay said, what we should be focusing on here. Once we have that, it is eventually, in how I see that, it will happen that in some future, we might replace account window.
So the next feature that we're looking at is looking at a single sign-on. So using your credentials, using or leveraging credentials from Active Directory, be able to create a single sign-on into the dashboard, thus replacing the login page. So basically, if a user is coming from CSM, they would be able to just launch into the dashboard without entering any of their login and password. So it's much more seamless to the end user there. I guess one other question is there interest, do we see any security issues leveraging Active Directory? Does anyone foresee any security issues using Active Directory to be able to use this as our dashboard login?
I think the only challenge from the Liberty side would be that we definitely would have our cybersecurity folks review it. Being owned by a publicly traded company, this would fall under SOX compliance. So they would be all over that if that's the direction you guys are going.
Okay, thank you. One of the other features that we're looking at, oh, go ahead.
Richard, there's a question here about, do we need 2 licenses for this if you are going between dashboard and CSM window? I don't think we need 2 licenses.
Yes.
And I don't correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's intention. The name licenses with GP, it's just paired with it, right? That's why we all you need is the GP license or the GP user license, and that will give you the corresponding connectivity so you wouldn't need another license for the dashboard user itself, as long as it's a GP user.
Okay. One of the next features that we're looking at is right now, if a customer has, for example, cash only, we want to be able to just add cash only, and you can bring in some additional information that is part of these widgets here. So this is looking at one of the enhancement options. And also just clicking on it would open up inside of GP and take you to the customer options card. And it's not only for cash only, but if there's spa, collections, any write-off information, it would take you directly to those windows there. So you would have 2 things. You would see, number 1, you would see the alert. Number 2, you could just put your mouse over, get that extra information. And if you really needed to drill down, it would give you that option to log in or launch you into CSM and you'd be able to find that detailed information that you're looking for. So those are some of the enhancements on the alert panel. The next feature, actually, any questions on the alert panel? So the next feature that we'll want to discuss here with the group is how do customers, or how do you guys use the graph? So if we had a consumption graph, is there a lot of detailed analysis going on with the graph that we're trying to communicate back to the customers? Is it nice and easy just to have a simple graph with graphing the consumption for a single meter, or even the total billed for a single service, or would it be beneficial to be able to plot like water against electricity, for example, inside of a graph? And it does make it a little bit more complicated to use, but we're trying to see is like what is the best fit and how would you best benefit from this consumption graph.
Or do we right now don't have a consumption analysis graph? I'm not graph, I mean consumption analysis widget that currently exists on account window. Is that something that you will be looking for to have as well? Where you can see all the per meter, also all the details, and even a dollar value and usage and number of days for each reading.
We don't use the graph. We just have the raw data, and I think we find that that's easier because you can, like, a graph's great for customer viewing, but not necessarily for communicating over the phone or through an email what the customer's consumption is. I'd assume that you could probably toggle over top and see what the total kilowatts was, but yeah.
Yeah, when you do the mouse over, I think it's, yeah, the other one I have. Yeah, when you do the mouse over, it show you that, but that's good feedback there for on the CSR side, communicating that back to the customer. Just seeing that raw data would definitely help you just be able to communicate that back. Okay.
Would you need to see the graph? If you display the graph, would it be more convenient for you to have selection per meter? So if you have multiple meters or multiple services, that you can have a filtering here, that you can filter different meters for that location. Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I see on the graph
feedback.
Okay, well, that's good feedback there. All right. So the next pieces are customer maintenance. So mostly on the dashboard right now, it's the presentation of information. So that what we're looking to take this is the ability to change information. And one of the pieces, I guess, is if a customer calls and does a change of address. There is, so if we have a customer, we just want to be able to edit their address, we can go in and right now we'd have to go to CSM. But to bring that functionality over to the dashboard, we're looking for how, as a CSR, from the CSR perspective on the dashboard, is it primarily related to updating addresses or if customers calling in, would we need to be able to have access to all the information for a customer on the dashboard? So I guess option A that we're looking at is just a basic set to be able to update the addresses. And option B is having access to all of the customer information.
Yeah, there is a comment regarding reminder notes, and which is currently possible. I think it's Sandra. That's already available or released in the current version. We do have an ability to add reminder or what.
Yeah, and we call it like a contact log. That's the widget that BJ already did show before, the contact log. As for the question regarding deduct meters on the graph, I think we need to look into that too, because that's a separate meter. So it will display the usage or consumption for that, for the deduct meter, but also it will be deducted from the base meter, right, where it's linked to, and displayed on the graph, including that deduction.
Vijay, can you scroll down to the contact log widget and maybe try? I know it's still, if you click on the create new, even if it shows that empty.
Yeah, so we have the ability to create new for reminder notes as well. So there is the, as long as it's linked back to an action code, you have the ability to add, again, your different types of action codes, the contact method from that customer. And if there was a service order information here. And you can put in your details, so the description of the contact, the resolution, as well as the follow-up date and if it was completed as well. So there's some basic functionality around here. There is before the final release, there will be just a little bit more put into this here that from what you're seeing right now. So I know there's a lot of people on the call. So what we're going to do after the call here is some of these touch points. I'm going to send out a survey to see exactly for you to fill out, so you'd be able to easily provide information and feedback on how you feel if on some of these features here that we're going to be releasing and even putting on the roadmap. So a lot of your input from the survey that will be sent out will be used to help deliver and create a roadmap of what we're going to do on the dashboard.
There's a question here, Vijay. When it will we be able to move the boxes around to meet the individual needs? Yes, that's also on our roadmap. To have that ability, it will be saved on the user's level, like what widgets they want to use and which ones they want to display. So if someone is never using Graph or any of the informational services, they will be able to remove. But that will be, we will address that probably in not even this phase, the phase after. I believe it is on our roadmap.
Yeah, it's definitely on, and we've even talked about like maybe allowing them to move the widgets. So it's all, like Milka said, it's on the later half of this year. And as for the roadmap, yes, we'll definitely, as we want to get feed this feedback into the roadmap for the rest of the year. So once we update it, we will share it for sure. Yeah.
And there was one earlier question about bills and creating a bill or printing a bill from the dashboard. I think that's something that we will look into when we are adding the actions that Vijay showed you before on the previous one, where you can create payments, credit memos, all different types of stuff. You can create a service order from here, extensions or charges. You can do meter adjustments or create deposits. All of these actions will actually open CSM windows. So it's going to put you back into CSM and GP to create those instructions. I don't see the bill here, but we will be looking into that to add an option here to create a bill for particular. But that would be, the bills are created for either as a badge for Cypress, or we can create them for individual customers. So you have to look into that. Would you be preferring to create a bill just for a single customer from here?
Yeah, so I've added that to our list here. So some of the other features that we'll look at is, and that will be out in the survey is, what do you feel about widgets, for example, a service order widget, so you'd be able to create a full-fledged service order from the dashboard. Other move in, move out widgets, getting a customer on budget billing or even pre-authorized payment, so be able to set up and maintain some of that information there. And again, looking at the widgets to be displayed by role. So just looking at the role that you have, which widgets that you want to be displayed and to move them around, as well as get them customized there. So yeah, the feedback would be valuable, as well, help to try and give us some of the direction for that roadmap for this product. Arun, do you have the, so if the dashboard will time out if it's idle, there is, I believe there is a time that that can be set around that.
That's right. It is currently, it's, I can't remember if it was 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but we plan to make that configurable. It's really, the architecture is the dashboard is a very lightweight web app. It uses the API. And when you're using it with the dashboard, the API is part of the dashboard solution. And the API is one which has the timeout. We do plan to make that configurable.
And this pretty much ends our session. So if there's any last questions here. Well, I appreciate everyone taking your time to come and view our CSM dashboard, and your feedback is quite valuable for us. So I'd like to thank you for that.
Yep. Thanks everyone for your time, and
Thank
thanks
you,
for
everyone.
All right. Goodbye.
everyone.
Bye.